Hello, friends. Welcome to Time Out with Noelle Janae. This is a weekly Christian lifestyle podcast that focuses on the Bible, adulting, and all things culture with a Christian perspective. I am your host, Noelle, and thank you so much for timing out with me. Here's what you can expect on today's episode. Title, handle, whatever. This is a quote from the article. We first attempt to reach out to any new business that has used our trademark and ask them to change their name. Sometimes we do that through email or phone calls, other times through a more formal document called a cease and desist. But we never do anything publicly or try and shame any business that is violating trademark laws. So, it's time to sip some tea. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Time Out with Noelle Janae. I'm your host, Noelle Janae, and today we have a very interesting episode about a situation that is happening right now in real time. It is the situation of a rogue worship leader on Instagram and Facebook versus the worship leader account. So, this is a situation that has been going down for the past week-ish. And you may be wondering, Noelle, why does this matter? Noelle, why is your title like this? One, it's because if you want to have worship leader be in the title of a ministry that you want to start, or like a meme account or any kind of account with worship leader, your account might get taken down. So just, be cautious with that. And two, the title of this is so that Worst Authentic Media LLC does not come after me and try to get me to take down this episode, because I am telling y'all the story and exposing what's been going on. So, this all started on March 18th, I believe. And one of my favorite accounts to follow on Instagram for worship memes is called Rogue Worship Leader. He does worship memes, but with Star Wars. So he'll take like Star Wars clips and, give it like worship scenarios. It's great. It's really funny. For some context, Rogue Worship Leader has 83.1 thousand followers, okay? And he posted on, he posted 5 days ago, a video, and he said, hey, did you know that the term worship leader and your job title is trademarked? And I was like, oh gosh, what? So I watched the video, and he talks about how the term worship leader is trademarked, and that his Facebook just got taken down, and 4 or 5 of his posts were reported for copyright infringement, and his Facebook page was taken down for copyright infringement from Authentic Media LLC. Now, who is Authentic Media LLC? Great. Glad you asked. They are an umbrella corporation company type of thing, and they house the Worship Leader magazine, Song Discovery, Pray Musically, Worshiper Magazine, Worship Podcast, and Worship Connect brands. And the specific sector of that corporation that we're talking about is Worship Leader Magazine. Worship Leader Magazine was started in the 90s, I think. I couldn't get like an actual time. So, like 70s to 90s. I know Dr. Chuck Fromm, he founded it. He has since passed away. My condolences to the family. But him and his wife, they started their ministry in the 70s with the Jesus Revolution. And started Maranatha Music. He was CEO, and then he started Worship Leader Magazine. And when he passed away, his daughter took over, Stephanie, and now she's president of Worship Leader Magazine under the Authentic Media LLC umbrella. So, originally in 1991, allegedly, I have not seen actual evidence, but from articles I've read about the situation, they were trademarked under Maranatha Music. Okay. In 2015, Worship Leader Magazine under Authentic Media LLC trademarked it because Maranatha Music ended, Authentic Media began. So they trademarked the term worship leader, and I have the trademark right here on my phone. And it was the trademark was filed in 2015 and it was registered in 2016. These are the goods and services that Authentic Media can use the term worship leader in. Downloadable electronic publications in the nature diaries, journals, planner, lesson plans, CDs, DVDs, and presentation slides, excluding Bibles in the fields of religion, worship, spiritual guidance, and study, and articles, magazines, periodicals, and those things. Downloadable pre-recorded music and sound recordings featuring worship, religion, music, and liturgy via an online website. They can use it for educational publications, namely books, magazines, guides, periodicals, and handbooks in the field of religion, worship, and spiritual guidance and study, personal organizers, worship set planners, activity planners, and song set planners, calendars, activity planning sheets, contact information sheets, goal and task organizer sheets, magazines relating to Christian music, magazine in the Christian and gospel field. So basically, they can do whatever they want. They can do duffel bags, they can do audio discs, they can do downloadable audio files, clothing, gym bags, tote bags, computer software, all this stuff. And basically, a trademark, from what I understand it as, it basically protects you for any merchandise you want to make. Now, I don't know what the ramifications are of someone else using the term worship leader on any merchandise, but I can imagine that it will not be good. So I will leave the trademark website thing link down below. So Scott, who runs and started the Rogue Worship Leader account, comes on Instagram and is like, hey, this happened. My Facebook got taken down, Authentic Media, like why? Also to all other meme accounts with the term worship leader, be aware they may start taking down your accounts. So then obviously like there was like huge outrage. Worship Leader Magazine got, asked a bunch of questions. For more context, the Worship Leader account is sitting at around 30.1 thousand followers. And so they put out a statement. They put out two statements, one text one and another video from Stephanie Fromm, who is the president. From what I can remember of the statement, they talk about, one of the main things they talk about was, we have never and will never send a cease and desist. Well, and they were also basically telling us like, hey, like we tried to reach out to him and he was just really, didn't want to work with us, he was very rude. Rogue Worship Leader, we've reached out to you and you haven't, you've ignored us, you won't work with us on this and all this stuff. And in a article from a partner with Worship Leader Magazine from June 1st, 2022, the article is called Why We Defend Our Worship Leader Trademark, and I will leave this article in the show notes. So, One part, as I had said, was they had said that they have never and will never send a cease and desist. So under the title, "Why are you taking down accounts on social media?" Swanson talks about how they will talk to people who have worship leader in their like account, whatever, title, handle, whatever. This is a quote from the article. "We first attempt to reach out to any new business that has used our trademark and ask them to change their name. Sometimes we do that through email or phone calls, other times through a more formal document called a cease and desist. But we never do anything publicly or try and shame any business that is violating trademark laws." So, literally, after this, after all of this, they put their statement out and Rogue Worship Leader responds, people go digging on their website and find this article where they say, yeah, we do send out cease and desist. And people are like, why are you lying about this? Like, stop lying. Like, this isn't a good look for you. So they deleted the article, and the way I have it is someone saved it on web.archive.org. Okay. So in this article also, Dr. Chuck Fromm was heavily involved in the Jesus Revolution, and in this article, Joshua Swanson says, and I quote, "We are just fortunate enough that our founder and his team essentially created this term worship leader and then trademarked it and built our business off of it." End quote. Now, I am all obviously I'm all for Christian businesses. Okay. I have one myself, the Follower Co. I have friends who also have those, and Christian podcasts, this is also a business. But there is a line where you say, and I'm not saying that God didn't tell him to start this, but this seems to me that they trademarked it to profit off of it with whatever they can make. That's what this is giving to me. Like, that their number one objective, although they say is to help and form better worship leaders, it seems to me that their number one priority is to make money. But maybe that's just me. So there have been a couple of articles written about this, about the situation, one from Relevant and a really good one from Christianity Today. So the Relevant magazine one talks about how, basically giving an overview of the whole situation. And sorry. Oh my gosh, I just read this. So this is a quote from the Relevant magazine article. "And for anyone who feels let down about no longer using the term, Authentic Media wants to remind you that, quote, God has so much creativity that you can lean in on your own gifting and come up with your own name," end quote. Isn't that great? Wow. So Joshua Swanson then reaches out to Relevant magazine after after this article is posted. And Swanson says, quote, "This all revolves around an issue with one account that we felt was impersonating us," he wrote. "Regarding the rumors that we are going around reporting accounts, it's not true. We sent one report to Facebook regarding this individual account. This is where the fumble happened. We provided supporting links to other accounts and just messed up in doing that because Facebook took that and delisted 6 additional accounts." So basically, he's saying that the only reason they reported Rogue Worship Leader's account is because they felt like it was impersonating them. And to that I say, no. It is, if you look at the worship leader account and the Rogue Worship Leader account, it is obvious that they are two completely separate brands. One has 2 words, the other has 3 words. One looks like a hipster modern, belonging code type of beat. The other one is literally based off of Star Wars. Like, it's all sci-fi and, very dark and not mysterious, but, like rugged, all that stuff. It's very obvious that they're two completely different brandings and two completely different things. I will say, I believe, because I read in the article, or I read in a article that Scott has also let me look this up. Let me see. Here it is. Okay. So, interesting actually, March 6th, I guess because this situation had been going on longer behind the scenes than what has been happening in public, Rogue Worship Leader applied for the trademark of Rogue Worship Leader. So it has not been registered to him, but he has started the process of, getting the trademark. But the trademark, and I love what he's doing with this, is the goods and services. So the only thing that he can use the Rogue Worship Leader name for is entertainment services, namely the provision of continuing video clips, images, memes featuring comedy commentary delivered by the internet. So he is not getting it trademarked for everything under the sun like the Worship Leader trademark is for. Because he's just a meme account. He's not trying to create this empire, basically, using Star Wars terminology. He just wants it so he can protect the memes he's creating, which I can get behind. So, Christianity Today also released an article, and I love this article because it doesn't just talk about the Rogue Worship Leader situation. There's also another account called Worship Probs. Worship Probs has around 114,000 followers, okay? So, the original name of the Worship Probs account was the Worship Leader Probs, and they were an account and podcast dedicated to the challenges of music ministry. This is a quote from Christianity Today's article. But last week, its creators revealed that they've lost social media pages and had to censor their brand due to a company claiming ownership of 2 out of the 3 words in their original name. And guess who it is? It's Authentic Media. So, the dispute, continuing with the article, the dispute between Worship Leader and Worship Leader Probs dates back to October 2022, when Authentic Media explained its concerns about the name during a phone call with the creators of the meme account. According to Joshua Swanson, editor-in-chief of Worship Leader and managing partner at Authentic Media, the company, quote, woke up to the fact that people were using our brand end quote. And in 2022, he and others at Authentic Media became particularly concerned about brand confusion with worship leader props. Again, maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm just a slightly above average person if I think this, but you cannot tell me that worship leader and worship leader props have the same branding. You can't. Their brand look is significantly different. So basically what happened was Swanson, or Authentic Media, basically forced worship leaders props hand, and Authentic Media began reporting worship leader props social media accounts for trademark infringement in February 2023. So before losing its account, worship leader props had 15,000 followers on Facebook and 45,000 followers on TikTok. Its YouTube page has also been taken down on Instagram, where it has the largest following, 133,000. Tabor has been able to rebrand and keep the account as worship leader props with a band-aid over the L in its WLP logo. So basically, that's why worship leader props has now since changed to worship props. Now, that whole conflict between worship leader and worship leader props, or worship props, sorry, that was all private until Scott from Rogue Worship Leader came out and talked about all of this. And then the creators of worship props came out and was like, hey, this happened to us. This is why we rebranded. We didn't want to talk about it, but now that someone else is talking about it, we feel comfortable enough to express what happened to us. So it goes on to talk about Scott's situation, and then I'm going through the article some more, and then it goes on to say that the company also holds trademarks for worship leader workshop and song discovery. The worship leader website featured the claim that the organization literally coined the term worship leader, citing its founder Chuck Fromm, who died in 2020. Then Swanson told Christianity Today, quote, "It's been our name since the beginning." He told CT, "Prior to us, they were music ministers and they were off to the side," end quote. This is where I love Christianity Today, because they really go for the jugular of worship leader. They say, a quick search of American newspaper archives reveals the term was in use to describe music ministers and church leaders across Christian denominations throughout the 20th century. A 1959 article from the Sunday Times of Bridgeport, Connecticut, refers to the Reverend Joseph Church, worship leader at First Methodist Church, a 1958 article in the Lewiston Daily Sun in Maine detailing plans for ecumenical Lenten services give 6 different individuals the title worship leader. It's also not difficult to find hymnals from the early and mid 20th century that occasionally use the term, end quote. And then going on, quote, another page on the worship leader website offers a more circumspect take on Fromm's use of the term. Quote, while Chuck did not invent the term worship leader, he did more than anyone to define the role, to establish its significance, and to equip those who were called to this ministry, end quote. Then it goes on to talk some more about the history behind it. There's another thing that... Here we go. Okay. There's another situation. In 2017, quote from the article, when the magazine was still owned by Maranatha Music, it sent a cease and desist letter to Alex and Fijian, creator of worship ministry training, originally worship leader training. Quote, they basically said either change the name or they take me to court, and Fijian said. He was able to arrange a personal meeting with Chuck Fromm, who was still alive at the time, through a friend to try to resolve the conflict person to person. Quote, I really wanted to do the Matthew 18 thing. I'm not going to go to court. And Fijian said, in person, Fromm obliged and said, it's okay, we'll just make it work and you can keep the name. But on the drive home, they called and changed back to their original stance that I needed to change the name, end quote. So he changed the name to Worship Ministry Training. So, and Fijian, looking back, does not regret it. Quote from the article, watching the current conflict unfold 6 years after his experience with worship leader, and Fijian says that he hopes for healthy, kingdom-oriented perspective for everyone involved. Quote, what we have is not our own, he said, God has entrusted us to build the kingdom, not our kingdom, his kingdom, end quote. The now public nature of the dispute between worship leader and worship leader probs raises some uncomfortable questions about the nature of branding, ownership, monetization, and power in the worship music industry. Fans of worship probs defended the creators in the comments to the recent post about the ongoing dispute over their name. Many were surprised or dismayed, but that a company would attempt to restrict the use of a term as common in today's churches as worship leader. Trust us, quote, trust us, no one is confusing the brands, one wrote, we're with you, worship redacted probs, end quote. And that's where the article ends right there. So, I've laid out all the evidence. I've told you about the situation. I will be updating on my personal Instagram and possibly on the podcast Instagram as things develop. As of right now, worship leader, the account has deleted all record of this situation on their Instagram. And they had said in a video posted a few days ago, it might have been Friday, that they were going to start talking about on Monday the trademark situation and, well, why they have the trademark. And they were going to be talking, answering some questions. And I did not see anything from yesterday. So take with that what you will. I will be going through and basically giving my thoughts on the situation in a second. And what kind of ramifications there might possibly be for future worship leaders and people who want to create worship leader-esque accounts. So, what are my thoughts on this? I think Authentic Media never should have trademarked the term worship leader in the first place. Now, we can't go back and change it, but I think especially for a term, like in the 90s, maybe it was fine. But trademarking it again in 2015 never should have happened. And it just puts a really bitter taste in my mouth when I think about it. There is a petition on change.org. I will put in the link in my show notes to get Authentic Media to renounce the trademark. So, I have not signed it, not yet. I'm gonna wait a couple more days and see if anything else happens. I know Scott had from Rogue Worship Leader. He has gotten a lawyer, and he has also talked to his pastor, and he has said that they both have advised him to stop talking about the situation in regards to personally and what is going on between them. He did share the article from Christianity Today on his Instagram story. That is where I found it. But other than that, he has not really said anything. But I have seen some memes from other Christian meme accounts coming to his defense and basically kind of making fun of the worship leader account, which whatever. It doesn't matter. Um Do I think that worship props and Rogue Worship Leader having bigger followings than Worship Leader magazine, do I think that contributed to this? Yes. Yes, I do. I do think that I don't know if it was jealousy. I don't know. Is they're actually trying to defend the trademark? Like, I'm sorry, but like, worship leader should not be trademarked in general. It is a job title. It is not only a job title, though, it is also a lifestyle. It, it the fact I can't get like past the fact that it's trademarked. It makes me feel like they only did it for the money. That's my like, and maybe I'm going to like out there right now, but to me it makes me feel like they were only in it for the money, and that actually equipping worship leaders was their secondary objective. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I've never used any of their resources. I don't know anyone else who's used their resources, and it makes me think that their demographic will not be aware of this situation, which is why personally I'm doing this podcast episode, just to make everyone aware. Because if you want to create like a worship leader account, you have to be very careful that you don't actually use the term worship leader, because authentic media could come after you. It's a very fine line that worship leaders are now going to have to walk because of this situation if it does not get resolved correctly. So, pray for them. Pray both for Scott and for the guys over at the Worship Probs account, and also Worship Leader Magazine, their, the president and all of them. So, let me know your thoughts down in the show notes, or DM me on Instagram. And I think that's all I have for right now. I am just very, I don't know how I feel. I'm disappointed. I'm sad for Scott that he's having to go through this, but I'm thankful that he was the one who actually got the courage to talk about this, because standing up to a fairly not really uber large account, and well, obviously it's smaller than his, but like corporation like Authentic Media, it takes guts, honestly. We'll see if this actually goes to court. I'm praying it doesn't, but if it does, um I don't know. I mean, worship leader may be able to stand in court with it, but I think them trademarking such a commonly used term, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see if it goes to court, what happens and such. So, that's all I have for today. I may do an update episode when I know more about the situation, but for right now, that is all I have for you. So, Have a great day, a great night, a great morning, whatever. Oh, no, just kidding. We have to do songs of the week, okay? So, my song of the week is, well, I'll do a couple since, we're making up for lost time. Okay, one, y'all know I'm not a Swiftie, but I am so happy for this. Safe and Sound Taylor's version, featuring Joy Williams and John Paul White, aka the Civil Wars. Y'all, this song came out when I was 11, and it was like my song. So like hearing it now in my 20s, I'm just like, ah. So, Safe and Sound Taylor's version, love that song. I also love Jesus Is Just Alright With Me by the Doobie Brothers. I did go watch Jesus Revolution. Y'all need to go watch it, okay? 10 out of 10, would recommend. It's so good. So, those are my songs of the week. I hope you guys have a great night, a great day, a great morning, great afternoon, great dusk, great dawn, great week, great month, great year. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye! Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you liked it, then leave us a 5-star review and follow us wherever you're listening. Share this with your peeps and follow us on Instagram at TimeNoelPod. Have a great day, night, afternoon, or whenever you're listening to this, and goodbye!